So I wanted to talk today a little bit about some recent conversations I've had with followers of ISKCON, and in particular a few Gaur Govinda Maharaj people that I talked to recently. And they were saying that after Srila Prabhupada departs, he will no longer be the guru, someone else will be the guru. Okay, wait a minute. Someone else will be the guru. Would you go to a school and drop your kids off at a place where the teacher was just going to be someone else? Just someone. Someone's going to be the teacher. No. You would want to know that this teacher was certified and authorized and bona fide and qualified to care for children. Nobody's going to surrender themselves to a place where someone, some unspecified, unnamed person, is going to be in charge. It's going to be the guru, it's going to be the teacher, it's going to be the brain surgeon. You don't go to a hospital and they say, well, someone's going to do the brain surgery today, don't worry about it. Well, what do you mean someone? Is that someone the janitor? Well, maybe. Is that someone the qualified person? Well, maybe. We're not going to tell you. We don't say. It's just someone. So this is very impersonalistic in my opinion. But on the other hand, it's kind of good news because that means we've forced people. All these people previously said, oh, Prabhupada's not going to be the guru, and we have someone for you, and it's conditioned souls. It's Kirtanananda, it's Ramachara, it's Hare Krishna. Well, we pretty much destroyed that argument and made them look very foolish for promoting all these people. So now those people, the someone else group is saying, well, it's just some unknown, unnamed someone who's going to be the guru to replace Prabhupada. Prabhupada will be replaced by, first of all, conditioned souls. That doesn't work. So now it's just Prabhupada will be replaced by some unnamed, unspecified, unknown person. Of course, that's not going to work because, like I just said, no one's going to want to surrender their children or themselves to a place where there's no certification. They're not going to go to a hospital where the doctors are not certified. They're not going to go to a school where the teachers are not certified. So if ISKCON is no longer going to certify who is the guru and who is not the guru, they're just not going to get recruits, which is what's happening. The temples are emptying out. Joe, the bartender, might be the guru? We can't say. Well, if you can't say, for starters, it means you don't know. If you don't know what is the guru, then you can't say who is guru. So, unfortunately, this is a conversation that I've been having a lot in the past couple of years. People are saying, Prabhupada is not going to be the guru, and someone else is going to be the guru. And so then I ask, who is that someone? Well, we can't say. And this is a conversation I have with Rochan and Torben Nielsen, Kailash Chandra, GBC people, Gaudiya Math people, Narayan Maharaj people, all kinds of people. Prabhupada isn't the guru, someone else is. Who? Well, nobody knows. Isn't that how we fell from the spiritual sky in the first place? We said, someone else is God, as long as it's not Krishna. It can't be Krishna. It's got to be somebody else. Who is that someone else? Well, we don't know, but it's not Krishna. He is not God, someone else. Well, how is that working out? All these someone else gods. Is that working out well for these people? Not so much. So, Prabhupada explained that this all happens because of envy, because people were envious. This is what Sisupal said. Sisupal said, anybody else can be worshipped here as long as it's not Krishna. So, anybody else can be worshipped in ISKCON as long as it's not Prabhupada. This is the same exact mentality. And it's producing very ill effects. Now we have somebody like Chitralekha Dasi, and she was one of the people who said, your children won't be worshipping Prabhupada, they'll be worshipping someone else. Okay, the children worship someone else, and they got into all kinds of problems. And most of them have rejected ISKCON. They're not participating in ISKCON. If you go to ISKCON temples, you won't find the children of ISKCON there for the most part, except for very few exceptions. They're not participating because they didn't want to participate in a religion that worships someone else. It doesn't work. And not only that, they were misinformed. They were told that Prabhupada wanted you to worship someone else. And then they got disgusted with the someone else's, and then they also rejected Prabhupada at the same time, because they were misinformed that Prabhupada wanted them to worship conditioned souls as their gurus. But this is not what Prabhupada ordered. Prabhupada never said, after I'm gone, someone else is going to be the guru of ISKCON. That's not what he said. He never said anything remotely like that. He established his worship with his murtis and prayers being sung to him, and we were offering boga to him and offering disciples to him and offering the money and the buildings and everything to him. We were not going to be offering these things to someone else. And this is another question I ask these people. Who do we offer the boga to? They don't know. They won't answer. So this is like the ABC principle. If you don't know how to offer your food to Krishna, then what? We got to offer it to Krishna through someone else. We can't offer it through the bona fide chain. The chain meaning offering to Prabhupada and up the disciplic succession to Krishna. We can't offer it any other way except the authorized way, or it's not accepted. Prabhupada said that. We cannot change the system of deity worship. He said this is the most dangerous thing. And that's the first thing they changed. We're going to offer the boga to conditioned souls. We're going to offer the disciples to conditioned souls. That doesn't work. So that's one problem we're having with the Gaur Govinda Maharaj people. They still think someone else should be the guru instead of Prabhupada. And look at the results. They've created ISKCON into a criminal reputation society. It has a bad reputation. Because when you make deviants into gurus, that creates criminal personality cults. And it's very difficult to control criminal personality cults. And, we see the results. Banning, beating, murders, child abuse, so many offshoots come from that. And it can't be controlled easily. Because it becomes like a violent, crazy cult, which is what they created. When they said someone else should be worshipped as guru, they empowered those people and enabled those people to create very difficult criminal personality cults. That was the result of making someone else the guru. And are those people now taking responsibility? Well, no. They're not admitting that they're making someone else the guru isn't working. And making someone else the guru creates all kinds of other unforeseen problematic outcroppings. For example, how can a conditioned soul absorb sins? If a person takes the post of Diksha Guru, he's absorbing the sins of his followers. But if he's not qualified to absorb those sins, then he'll be overwhelmed. And if he's overwhelmed, he'll get sick, he'll fall down, he'll go crazy, he'll have all kinds of problems, which we see happening with these so-called other person gurus. They're having difficulties, grave difficulties, fatal difficulties, spectacular spin-out fall-downs, and so on and so forth, because one of the reasons is because they're accepting sins. And Prabhupada said when a neophyte takes sins, he'll have to suffer. And there's a story of the snake who's being bitten by ants. And the snake was a guru previously. And he claimed that he could take the sins of his followers and the ants who are eating the snake and biting the snake to death, those ants were the disciples of the guru. So this is a story to illustrate how it's very dangerous for a conditioned soul to claim that he can be a Diksha Guru and absorb sins. But unfortunately, when we ask GBC people, Gaudiya Math people, Narayan Maharaj people, Gaur Govinda Maharaj people, etc., people, how can conditioned souls take sins? They come up with all kinds of flim-flam explanations for how that process will work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not working. And they just refuse to see that. You cannot have conditioned souls absorbing sins. It doesn't work. Now, Rochan has recently said that we shouldn't even have any restriction on who becomes guru in ISKCON. At least the GBC has some sort of guideline system, apparently, supposedly, where they regulate their gurus. But Rochan says we shouldn't even do that. We should just have a system where whoever thinks someone is a guru should be allowed to worship that person as their guru. The GBC shouldn't even be involved in, administering, who's going to be the guru, who isn't going to be the guru. Whoever the new people think is a guru, they should be allowed to worship that person as a guru. Well, suppose you had a school with 100 students, and all 100 students said, I'm going to accept this person, that person, the other person as a teacher, and the parents and the school are not going to administer who is going to be the teacher. The students get to decide. So what happens if a student thinks, I think the village drunk is going to be my teacher, I think a criminal is going to be my teacher, I think this guy is a teacher, I think that, you can't have a religion with that type of a system, where it's just a free-for-all, where anybody that the new people assume is a guru becomes the guru. That's never going to work. But if you think about it, suppose you went into a Christian church and you said, okay, Jesus isn't going to be the guru anymore. Whoever people think is Jesus will be Jesus. Whoever people decide should be worshipped as Jesus will then become Jesus in your church. That would never be accepted, because they know you can't have a systematic religion based on that type of free-for-all program. But again, this is good because it shows, first of all, Rochan was part of this whole process of administering the guru and reforming the guru and having all kinds of meetings about how to, restrain their gurus. Then they realized that's not working. So now he just says, let's just make it a free-for-all. There won't no restraint at all. Just anybody who wants to be guru will be guru. That's the program now. Just open the floodgates. So any person who feels like he's a guru can be, and any new person who thinks a person is a guru can worship that guru, and that's going to be the religion. So that it'll just be, chaos. Of course, we already have chaos, but it'll just make the chaos worse. We have chaos now because the GBC makes all kinds of rules to administer the gurus, but they don't enforce those rules. They say the guru shouldn't be, embracing women, but their gurus are embracing women. What are they going to do about it? And so on and so forth. I mean, they're embracing female children, which looks inappropriate in some of these photos that we see. So the GBC knows that, and they can't administer that, because how can they tell a person who's a guru what to do or not do? So Prabhupada says the original sin of the fallen living entities is that they wanted the kingdom of God without God. And so then everything went to hell from there. And ISKCON went to hell for the same reason. They wanted the kingdom of ISKCON without Prabhupada. We're going to have somebody else being the guru. And all these somebody else's just cause all kinds of mayhem and problems. Because, for starters, they're not qualified to be gurus. They're not qualified to be worshipped in that position. Now, another problem that comes up from time to time is that Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Narayan Maharaj, and the Gaudiya Math people, and a number of the Babajis do not agree with Prabhupada's basic points of Siddhanta, or the basic points of his philosophy. For example, Srila Prabhupada says that we were at one time all with Krishna. We started out in Krishna's Leela or sport. Therefore, we have to go back to Godhead. Now, a number of his godbrothers complained when we were in Mayapur in 1971. They didn't like the idea of back to Godhead because they said we were never there. We were never with God, so there's no question of going back to God. Okay, so what they're saying is some souls start with Krishna, which is what the Christians also preach. Some souls are in heaven with God automatically from the start, and some souls are lesser citizens, and they end up falling down and having problems because they are the lesser children. So what they're really saying is there's a two-tier system. God has one set of souls in the spiritual world with him at all times. Another set of souls have all kinds of problems, and they fall into all kinds of difficulties, and they get blown up in wars, and they get chopped up, and they have repeated birth and death, because they are not the select elite children. So therefore God is biased. God is biased, and he's bigoted with his children. He selects some children to have a higher status than other children. That's not God. God is equal to all. His love is equal to all of his children, just like a material father. Even in the ordinary mundane world, the father is equal with his love. He gives equal love to all the children. And that's what God does too. So God starts out all of us equally. And some of us fall from that status. That's another thing. But this two-tier system really makes God look out to be like a bully. He's a bully with his own children. He's bullying some children. He's mean and nasty with some children. And he's favorable to other children. This is basically the Christian idea as well. You know, there's angels in heaven. They're always in heaven. You are not an angel in heaven because you weren't selected for that. So you're predestined to be suffering. That's not right. That's not what God would do. God is all loving. He doesn't predestine you to suffer from square one. You choose to be separate from him while you're in his association. Now this same thing happened again with ISKCON. People were with Prabhupada and they became envious of Prabhupada. They were with him, but they wanted to be him. They wanted to be in his seat. They wanted to be worshipped. They wanted glory. They wanted disciples. They wanted money. They wanted to ride around in a big Cadillac. They wanted a nice bunch of servants and facility because they were envious of their guru. And that's what Prabhupada says about the Gaudiya Math. They became false gurus because they were envious of their guru. So this whole idea that someone else should be the guru is a license for all of these, wannabe messiahs to take that mantle within ISKCON. And that is creating problems. But Sridhar Maharaj, he was told, well, some people are envious of Rameshwar, and he said, well, make those envious people into gurus. Vote them in too. So, wait a minute. If people are envious, they should not be made into gurus. That's not the qualification of guru, that he's envious. So there's so many different things that Prabhupada said that are these Gaudiya Math people and many GBC people and Rochan and others, they don't agree with certain things that Prabhupada said. Prabhupada never said there's going to be a free-for-all guru system. That's not what he said. And so on and so forth. So it goes down the line. As one idea of Prabhupada's is dismantled, it may dismantle a whole bunch of other ideas from there, on and on and on, until finally we're no longer even close to what Prabhupada said in the first place. And another problem that happens when you make someone else the guru is that those someone else's might end up being buried in samadhis in the holy places. Like Tamal Krishna has a samadhi in Mayapur, and Kirtanananda has a samadhi in Vrindavan, and that samadhi in Vrindavan was supported by Gopal Krishna and Radhanath and other members of ISKCON. So, wait a minute, Kirtanananda was allegedly, supposedly, and admittedly a sexual predator. Why does he deserve being in a samadhi in the holy Dham of Vrindavan? The holy Dham of Vrindavan is identical to Krishna. Why should we be putting a contaminated person's carcass in that land? And then it gets worse. Then they put Gunagrahi in a samadhi, and he was admitting to watching porno. So he's another sexually, let's say, active person, posing as a guru, posing as a swami. He does not deserve to be in a samadhi in the holy Dham. So this is another ramification of all this. When we start rubber stamping this person, that person, the other person, okay, the other persons as gurus, what happens when they end up in samadhis in the holy Dham? And then we're implicated. We're implicated in contaminating the holy Dham. All the people who support this, other guru that program, are aiding and abetting this process of putting contaminated souls in the Dham. So we can't do that. We can't have contaminated things going on in the Dham, because then our whole society becomes implicated in the karma of that. And then the whole society suffers and deteriorates and has problems, because it's participating in a major aparad and deviation, a major offense to the holy Dham. So this is simply another manifestation of what happens when the other person here and other person there becomes guru. Now, another question I get from time to time is, since New Vrindavan is certified to be a criminal empire, which was raided by the police, and which was implicated in murders and crimes of all types, why did ISKCON then take the top leaders from that enterprise and place them as the top leaders of ISKCON, like Radhanath and Devamrita and Umapati and Tapapunj and Kuladri and all these people? The New Vrindavan core leadership then became the top leadership of ISKCON. If New Vrindavan was really a bad scene and really a criminal scene, and ISKCON was trying to jettison, being linked to that, why would they take all the top managers from that and place them as the new wave of management of ISKCON? That makes no sense. It makes it look like ISKCON all along supported the criminal regime of New Vrindavan, and they still do. They never really, apologize fully for supporting New Vrindavan. If they had, then they would get rid of all the New Vrindavan people and say these people created major problems for ISKCON, major problems for the citizens of ISKCON, major problems for the women and children of ISKCON. We don't want them to continue in the post of managing ISKCON. But this is another question. Why are those people, the same people that created all these problems, still in charge? Why doesn't the GBC vote out people like Jayapataka, who had this big child molesting empire going on in Mayapur? Why is he still allowed to be managing anything? And the answer is that Jayapataka is a guru, and Radhanath is a guru, and this guy is a guru, and that guy is a guru, and they can't really be removed, because how can you remove the guru of the institution? So passing around this title everywhere has created this imbroglio where you can't remove people even after they create problems. Then we have Indradyumna Swami, and it looks like he's overly hugging small children, in particular female children, it looks very strange, it looks very weird, but nothing can be done. And even Bhakti Vikas Swami says, well, he's doing a lot of preaching. Yeah, but he's preaching what? Preaching what? In other words, you can't be corrected. We can't even say, let's have a meeting and let's tell this guy he has to stop doing this stuff. We can't do that because he's a guru. So this is what happens when you just throw this title around left, right, and center. This guy's a guru, that guy's a guru. He can't be criticized. He can't be challenged. He can't be checked. And this is the problem we have with Rochan. Rochan thinks we should just hand out rubber stamps of more gurus. We should just make more and more gurus with more and more problems that can't be solved because you cannot fix the guru. Rochan doesn't get it. You can't reform the guru. It doesn't work. You have to just declare this person is not a guru. You don't reform the guru. It doesn't work. But anyway, I think more people are realizing this as time goes on, that this whole idea that there's a guru who needs correcting, who needs reform, that means he's really not a guru. And that means de facto he is what we say he was supposed to be. He was just supposed to be an agent, a representative of the Acharya. The representative can be corrected. The representative can make mistakes. The representative can be removed. And that's what it says on the May 28th appointment tape. When they deviate, they have to be replaced. If they deviate, that means they were not gurus in the first place. They were only supposed to be representatives. So now we have to come down to what is the result of all of this making other people into gurus. Suppose you have a piece of gold, genuine gold, but you start saying, this rusty iron horseshoe is also gold. This tin can is also gold. This old car hubcap is also gold. Then after a while, no one will know what is gold. There won't be a standard for gold anymore. It will become watered down. And that is something Prabhupada discussed frequently. He didn't want his philosophy to be watered down. And that includes designating all kinds of conditioned souls and deviants and people who don't share Prabhupada's philosophy, like Gaudiya Math people and Narayan Maharaj and so on and so forth, designating all of them as gurus and acharyas. Then the whole thing becomes watered down. Then gold is no longer the standard. Then an iron horseshoe equals gold, and so on. And then people lose faith in the whole process, which has happened wholesale. ISKCON has failed for this reason. It is watered down. Who is guru? What is guru? What does it mean to be a guru? And so on and so forth. And this has changed the society simultaneously. This has created very dangerous personality cult offshoots that are dangerous and that are oftentimes criminal. And they are exploiting ISKCON and exploiting the name of Krishna and exploiting the name of Prabhupada. And how did this happen? Because everyone allowed this to happen in the society. The collective society is responsible collectively for what happened to ISKCON. And so many devotees over the years told me, Pranjan, you're too heavy, you shouldn't criticize, you're making offenses, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and the end result is you lost your society because you watered it down. You did not follow Prabhupada's warnings. And he said things like, don't make it a stool society. And if you deviate, the whole thing will go to hell. And so on and so forth. He gave many warnings. Do not allow my movement to be changed. Do not allow false gurus. Do not follow the Gaudiya Math. And so on and so forth. And these warnings were not heeded. And then I was like the guy on the front of the Titanic yelling, iceberg, iceberg. And people said, oh, that's crazy. This guy's yelling iceberg. Who is this guy? Who does he think he is? Does he think he's important? Blah, 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 blah. Let's party. Let's go listen to the band playing. Okay. And then the ship hits the iceberg and it starts sinking. That's all. And that is what happened. Now, recently, some people have been asking me, how did I get into a big disagreement with the HKC Jaipur, the Hare Krishna community in Jaipur? What happened? And it's pretty simple. Their group made a video with Bhaktidas, and they were advising people to listen to Bhaktidas, who was a big cheerleader of the other guru program. Bhaktidas says we need to go to the Gaudiya Math or to the ISKCON GBC or others to find a guru. So this is the same problem, just recycling around. We have to go somewhere else, and our position is we just don't agree with that. We think Prabhupada is sufficient. There's no need to find another guru, especially the gurus that Bhaktidas finds. For example, Puri Maharaj said that our idea is a deviation. Our idea is that Prabhupada should remain as the Acharya, and he said that is a Ritvik deviation, and it's not found in Shastra. So we hear this all the time. Worshipping pure devotees is not found in Shastra. Well, we need to go back and read the Shastra. In any case, our idea of reviving the worship of Prabhupada is moving forward. More and more and more people are communicating with us that they agree with this idea. They're tired of worshipping conditioned souls. They're tired of being misled. And they just want to move on with the bona fide master and the bona fide author of all these Vedic books, which is Srila Prabhupada. And no one else has written these kind of books. No one else can compete with the type of knowledge that Prabhupada has given. And that is just gradually becoming more and more self-evident. And thus more people are coming on board with us promoting this idea. And I hope this all helps at least someone. Even if it helps one person, it's all worth it. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol.